the Royals Rundown, powered by Royals Report.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Royals Rundown podcast, powered by Royals Report on the Nordcast Network. I am your host here, Evan Dickinson, otherwise known as Royals Report. So, the Royals had a rough weekend, and I don't need to really say anything more than that. They played the Trois Rivieres Lions in a 3-game series, and they lost all 3 of them, allowing more than 3 goals twice and being shut out once during that 3-game span. It really was not that pretty. We can go through all of the games, but there's one thing that I do want to point out, and that's the shots on goal. That's the first thing that I want to point out here. The Royals only had 2 goals this month, or this weekend, not this month. Well, maybe this month, but this weekend, they only had 2 goals scored, and those goals came from Brandon Sagan on Friday, and then followed by Nolan Burke on Sunday, and that's it. They were shut out on Saturday. Overall, really not that pretty of a weekend. And again, I want to point out the shots. So on Friday's game, they had just 15 shots in that game. Unacceptable on its own. On the game on Saturday, where the game they got shut out, they had 29 shots. So they were shooting the puck better in that game for sure. And then on Sunday, they only had 17. And only having 2 in the first period. You are not going to win games when you're not shooting the puck. You're not going to. And again, I shouldn't surprise anybody by saying that you know the Wayne Gretzky quote that is so iconic. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's so corny, but it's true. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I think, again, I understand maybe you want to find those grade A chances. And we talked about it on the Royals broadcast a lot of times about how, maybe they could figure out better ways to shoot the puck and areas to shoot the puck better. But, man, 15 shots on Friday, only 17 on Sunday. You're not going to win hockey games like that. Simple. You're not going to win hockey games like that. It just isn't going to happen, to be honest with you. Now, they did run their goaltending tandem here throughout this weekend. I think we should discuss that. You have Yaniv Peretz, who started on Friday night, had an .875 save percentage, let in 5 goals on 35 shots. Not an ideal game there for Peretz. In the 3-0 shutout loss, I believe it was Keith Petruzzelli who was in net for that game. He had a .904, 19 saves on 21 shots. Just was not that ideal. Again, I think it's so disappointing. On Sunday, as well as that too, Petruzzelli played again, had an .846, 4 goals on 22 shots. You're not going to win hockey games like that. So there was a lot of negativity on social media, obviously, about this. A lot of the fans were upset, and rightfully so. I was not very happy either. It's disappointing to go in up north and get 0 points. It's really disappointing, especially when you're trying to compete for a playoff spot here in the North Division, a very competitive division as it is. You need to get those points, and they just weren't able to get those. And now they find themselves 4th place in the division with Worcester and Greensboro and Adirondack right on their tail. It's not the end of the world, though. It's not the end of the world. Weekends like this are not fun, but they happen. They happen. It's a sport where there's a lot of streaky weekends, and you're going to go through good stretches, you're going to go through bad stretches. They just went through an incredible stretch of games on the road and at home, and now they're starting to not play so well. They've lost 5 of their last 6. It's not looking that great. I'm going to say this, though. They are a young team. They are going to improve from this. I don't think they're as bad as what they're presenting themselves to be. They're just not getting the shots on goal, and they're not finding the back of the net that often. Again, I think it's a big factor. Ever since Jake Willett scored that goal 2 Sundays ago now at this point, the Royals have only scored 3 goals total. Yes, I'm not exaggerating that. 3 goals total. Besides that 4-1 game in Wheeling, only 3 goals besides that. So that's not good enough. Again, I think that especially in losses, like they just get absolutely pummeled and they cannot find a way to beat these goaltenders. Got to change it. It's got to be changed. And again, I think this team is better than what they're presenting themselves to be right now, but maybe they weren't as good as they were prior. Maybe this team realistically is somewhere in the middle of that. Again, I make a lot of NHL examples here, but the Montreal Canadiens this year started off really good, and then they had a really bad past month, and now it seems like they're starting to middle itself out. I don't think they're as bad as they've been the last week, but I don't think they're as good as they've been the past month. I think they're probably somewhere in the middle. And again, you never know. It's a very young team that we're talking about here. A lot of these guys are 21, 22 years old. There's a lot of time for this team to grow and improve. And we even heard this wasn't going to be a one-season thing, but there's a lot of optimism here with this roster. This is still a very good team. And I think we just need to give it some time. They're playing some good competition here coming up. They are playing Wheeling on Wednesday. We'll preview that game in a moment, followed by Worcester on the weekend. I think this is still a very good team, though, regardless of the disappointments we've seen. I think they're still a good team. Maybe they're not as good as they were prior, but they're definitely not as bad as they were this past weekend. I think it will middle itself out. Anyway, looking ahead to the Wednesday matchup tomorrow against the Wheeling Nailers. Again, it is the 5th time this season these teams have faced off. And again, like these guys, they don't like each other. It's going to be pretty primal. They play 15 times this season. This is only the 5th time. The Nailers are not only first in the North Division, but they're also first in the ECHL, 14-3-1 for 29 points. They've been phenomenal. Again, that team is just absolutely cooking on all cylinders. And again, the way you're going to beat them is by proper defense, by getting shots on these goaltenders like Pavlenko and Smith. And hopefully you can get out with a Wednesday night win here. They need points. They need points now. It's good and it's valuable that they got those points at the beginning of the season for stretches like this, but you cannot keep sliding. You got to get a win here on Wednesday. I feel like that'd be huge for this team overall. But let's hope that this weekend and this week is a lot better. We'll be back on Friday previewing the upcoming weekend against the Worcester Railers. We'll review this game as well, unless if it's a nothing burger like the educational game was. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on the Royals and this last stretch of games. I should mention before we do wrap up here, they did receive some reinforcements. Carter Berger has been loaned to Reading by the Phantoms and will play on Wednesday, so that'll be fun to see there for sure. But the Royals will get some enforcements there as well to help out with their blue line. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe down below if you're new to the Nordcast Network. And I will see you guys on Friday and maybe even at the game itself. Let's go Royals.